Okay, I think it's time to do uh, my rant on fake jobs. Let's do it. We're well into it, and then the last bit we'll just build roads till the end of the episode. So the fake job is it's a broad. This might be one of the worst money sucking industries in all of America. And again, if you want to stay on the fiscal cliff, uh, the U.S. has to um, deal with some of these fake jobs. It can't just continue to provide high paying jobs to people that don't provide to the people. Not like you can't have too many of them. The fake job is specifically um, the idea of free market insurance, free market insurance, and this applies a lot of industries specifically. Like it applies to the U.S. and the healthcare system, like the pharmacy benefit managers. Just any kind of insurance should not be logically a competitive market. Um, this is a perfect case of where if the U.S. wants to stay on the fiscal cliff and they don't want to waste billions of dollars in unneeded salaries every year, uh, pretty much all insurance should be nationalized because um, it doesn't produce anything. Like it's by definition, it's to ensure that things that do produce stuff continue to producing stuff. And as far as I know, like the only tangible usefulness to the insurance industry is the detection of legitimate fraud and over a certain amount. Like if you think about it, if a guy makes $100,000 a year doing a job, and they catch in that year they catch 10 people wasting $10,000. You might think, well, even uh, like let's say they're looking for loopholes where you didn't fulfill the specific term of what the insurance is supposed to cover. I had um, a water leak on my property, and my insurance was supposed to cover it, but they didn't because of an exceptional loophole. So let's do the math here. Let's say you're an insurance agent, you make $100,000 a year, and you're able to deny 10 claims at $10,000 in that year because they didn't qualify. The question is, how much have you contributed to the economy, right? Now, the first guess might be nothing, right? Because you collected 10,000 just to deny 10,000, but in reality, you actually just took 100,000 out. Like I'm not even going to give you you're worth zero. You're worth minus 100,000. You're just worth the money you took for yourself to feed yourself. And again, nothing personal. I don't anyone who's in this industry. You were, you it was a notable industry. They offer you a certain amount of money. They want it's the system itself that's the problem. Like I'm sure these people would be if you're into it, you're smart enough. You could probably do a lot of other things that would be actually positively beneficial. But the reason why it doesn't even break even is because when you deny someone a claim, you're actually again this is a zero sum proposition where someone is out $10,000 because of you. There was costs, and I was out close to $10,000 when it happened to me, and so I had to make up for it some other way, right? And I had to do some real work to do that to cover the difference. Um, and again, and it just added you get jaded over your lifetime when enough of this stuff happens. Like when you're making 40,000 a year and then your insurance, which should cover a $10,000 cost, 25% of your annual income, they come up with a very minor loophole why they don't cover it, uh, you become a little jaded. Like you got to work an extra year because of one exceptional clause that makes no rational sense if you think about it. It had to do with who had title to the water valve after some construction, and technically, the city was still uh, it anything if your water valve is like 2 feet off the property, it's none of their business, is what it comes down to, which makes no sense because how else, like the city also has they won't put it on the property, and they wouldn't cover it either because it was a new install. So no one was wanted to take responsibility. I had to eat the cost, and someone was paid somewhere to deny that, right? But it's not just for these kind of issues. Like I'm sure houses catch fire, um, people get sick. I know in the U.S. there's the medical. So these people making these high-paying salaries, and remember, when you deny a claim, you do not save any money in the system whatsoever. You save nothing. If you deny a $30,000 claim, you save nothing because that $30,000 is being incurred by another citizen. So in terms of net economic growth, that's that's the problem, right? You're not actually contributing anything at all. You're just pushing you're passing the buck on to someone else. So the best way to do it would be to nationalize insurance. If the politicians wanted to get their stuff organized, they would nationalize insurance, and they would come up with rules that like obviously you want to police for intentional scamming, but if it's something that's clearly an act of God, or you just say, okay, there's nothing that could have been done, you can't get cancer or something like that, you shouldn't be uh, left with no other options, right? And to pay people to enforce this, that's ridiculous. That should just be automatically more money printed. If it's, I'm not saying, again, as with all my fake job disclaimers, there's a percentage of useful elements to it, like having the computer systems sort things out, having inspectors that look for egregious fraud, any claims over a certain amount, like let's say in a given year, there's some people averaging 10,000 claims per year. That should be investigated. But the vast majority of people, most of my lifetime, I've never claimed anything. I've never really needed insurance most of my life. And the few times I did, it didn't deliver. So, and meanwhile, there's people getting paid out of it. So I would suggest that at least in terms of a competitive market, it works the same. It's, something went wrong. You should have to, it should just be automatically fixed. We sink money into the salaries to monitor it, but the only money that should really go into it is to monitor for the real problems, and just a small, 25% of scam checking, just to make sure there's no bad actors, but like basically the policing of it. And I think that's just another arsenal, to if you're worried about the economy, is to avoid going over the fiscal cliff that way. So that's that's another fake job, is the insurance industry. And it's such a, it doesn't help anyone. You're paying someone in order to avoid paying someone else, so it doesn't have a net positive. There's no economic gain to it. It's just passing the buck, pretend economy. And if you have if you have too many fake jobs in the economy, you go over the fiscal cliff, and you're basically East Germany, right? So that's that fake job. That one's off the list. If I think of some other notes, I'll add it in the comments. I noticed I'm watching my stream here, and it's not showing today's stream. I hope I wonder what's going on there. There's something to do with it shows I'm streaming, but I don't see I don't see my most recent stream. It's just from earlier in the stream. So I'm still recording either way. I hope it's still up there.